All right, those just tuning in, we just wrapped up our debut games for the new Death Guard and World Eater codexes. With the final score, World Eaters, Daemonkins coming out on top with a 91 to Death Guard. What'd you get?
83.
83 for the Death Guard. So good showing for both armies. 80-plus point game. That's a very good place for it to be with an army in general. Usually can pull out a W. Very wild game for a lot of things, dice back and forth. Sometimes there were some feel bad moments where something that you thought should have destroyed something didn't. And then something else does damage or survives forever that shouldn't. So definitely very back and forth. Probably pretty even on the dice. Death Shroud's not failing the charge was a big turning point.
Failing a 4-inch charge on a reroll. That was rough. Definitely could have used that, especially on that turn. I had some secondaries in play, just wasn't able to score them. But no, it's still definitely understanding, playing the Death Shroud and the Plague Marines in this detachment. The better detachments have ways to buff them in combat. With rerolls or proccing sustained on, or crits on 5-ups, all that sort of thing. There just weren't enough buffs in this detachment to make them really effective. They don't have any defensive strats or any offensive strats that support them. So the Death Shroud still, they hit kind of hard into infantry in that sort of thing, but they have a hard time punching up. They barely killed Scarbrand. Like I said, that squad going in there, plus an extra Lord of Virulence going in with his 5 Power Fist attacks. Just because they didn't have any rerolls, there are other detachments that give them full rerolls to hit and wound. Going into a wounded unit like that, obviously they would have just plowed through them with rerolls to wound. But as it is in this detachment, they just relying on cold dice with no rerolls. So I still think it's fun in this detachment. I think I would probably build things a little differently. But being able to put 2 of your things in Contagion was a big deal, especially because I took the neg to hit. So taking 2 of your Forge Fiends and just making them hitting on 5s, kept
all
me
game
around
long.
Yeah,
Pretty much all game long.
Yeah, the one turn I didn't do it, and then I regretted it. I was like, oh yeah, now they're going to hit on 4s. Rerolls, like, oh man. So hitting on a 5s just makes it enough of a swing to really put them down. But I think the Death Guard, I definitely want to try some of the other detachments. The Plague Marines, again, like if they had some ability to reroll hits, because when they went in to punch, they just failed. They're heavy.
I didn't do much better into you either. So that was one of those weird swingy dice.
In this matchup, the toughness 6 on the Plague Marines and toughness 7 on the Death Shroud made the difference.
Yes.
A lot of times.
Yes.
Especially when your Forge Fiends are shooting at even just the Plague Marines, you're still wounding on 3s, even though you're strength 10. So it definitely came into play. The defensively keeping around just a little bit longer. Combine the neg to hit, and then even your stronger guns wounding on 3s is just enough to kind of push the balance for a little while. But I didn't get to run a Land Raider through walls, guys. So I don't know if I'll try this attachment again. There's a lot of things I want to run. I do want to make DJ deal with 150 Poxwalkers here soon. But it was fun. How would you think about the World Eaters?
So I definitely as the game went on, I started looking at some situations and going, man, I could have done this, I could have done that. And the shoulda, woulda, couldas are building up as not playing this style of combat army. I don't play Space Wolves, I don't play Blood Angels. And Grey Knights that's its own thing. That's its own monster. So with this being kind of one of those type of combat armies that can utilize some different stratagems that I don't look at as frequently, it's something I definitely need to pay attention to, especially going into the last turn. Now, granted, you failed the 4-inch charge. So had you made that charge, my Juggernauts probably would have come into you to try to eliminate as many of those, get those Terminators reduced down as much as I can, get into a fight with them. So that would have probably changed some stuff over there. But even when you charged in, I was within 6. I could have heroicked, brought the Blood Crushers up there, shut you down, potentially shut you down on 4 points extra on primary for the hold more. Picked up a sack.
Do you think they would do much into the Death Shroud?
I think they would do enough to keep control of the objective. Because of the fact that you would have had to deal with the Berserkers and them and having to divide out those attacks so that I had enough. I think I would have been able to do enough to control the objective, and that's where it would have ended. As far as actually, like, I wouldn't have gotten an additional kill. If you would have went into the Blood Crushers instead of the Berserkers, I might have picked up. I think I was still in combat with a character over there, or did I pick him up? I can't remember. But that's. I think there was a character that I might have been in combat with that I still.
Yeah, that's why I didn't shoot him.
Yeah, so I think that's. Oh yeah, that's true.
You could have flamed him right off of there.
Yeah.
If I fell back with the character, you probably would have overwatched with the
Forge Fiend.
and
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. Yeah, that's what I was waiting for with it. I had the command point there for it. But I could have heroicked into there, brought the Blood Crushers in. No, I wouldn't have done a lot of damage, but I think I would have done enough to at least keep the OC value and the OC control. Because what are your Terminators? Are they 2 or 1?
Yeah, you probably would have kept the objective. I probably would have put 2 Terminators into the Berserks and probably would have wiped them.
Potentially,
8 attacks hitting on 2s, lethals, wounding on 2s, AP 2 damage. And the rest would go into the Blood Crushers. And I'll probably kill 2 of them there because they do have a 4th emblem. So
correct. That's what kind of
around a little bit.
That's what
I don't think they do much because what's their
no, they're strength. They're like strength 6.
Yeah, so they wouldn't do much into the Terminators.
The map.
Yeah, you probably pick up 1 Terminator.
Exactly, but just enough for me to at least maintain OC there and drop you another 4 points on the primary. So that's what I probably should have done. And that's a hindsight thing because, again, a different style with the combat army to use those stratagems and know the effect of where those go. And over time, too, I know those Terminators are super durable. So in my mind, too, again, like you said, I'm not doing the damage, but it's not about doing the damage. It's about putting enough units on that point. So that would have been a big one there. And also the mission special rule, I could have cleansed with the Bloodletters that were in combat with the Land Raider and gotten away with it. So that was another one I should have done next, and the Juggernauts could have done something else and been in a better position. But I see the thing is, and I need to see this, and it needs to be another scenario because there was a little bit of the boogeyman. I could have moved the Blood Crushers up into your Terminators and just charged them myself. But I don't know how much damage I would have taken from the Flamers going in there because you're gonna Overwatch. It's free.
Yep.
And I mean, I'm Beast. Does that change it? Or Cavalry? Does that change anything for it? Like, makes it a little weaker?
I'd be wounding you on 5s because it's strength 3, and you would be down to T5 because of contagion range. So it'd be
T6. I'd be down to T6. I'm tough to 7.
Oh, all right. Yeah. So it'll be wounding you on 6s.
So then I probably should have just marched up there and went right into them because then I could have eaten that Overwatch. But that's hindsight. That's hindsight with the new armies because those Terminators are vicious. They're very, very tough. Getting the impact charges, once again, this would have come down to the fact of you not, would I have done a lot of damage? No, I probably would have done more damage on the impact than anything else.
Did they do the impact on the Heroic?
No, they would not impact on Heroic. So only on the charge.
Okay.
So it would have been done more damage there for that. But now back to how I feel about the entire army. I like it a lot. Death Guard are in a weird place, which I feel like Death Guard are going to make a lot of armies start looking for more ways to ignore modifiers. Up to this point, there's only been a couple of things that do it, and Death Guard was kind of one of the staples. And I think Death Guard was able to kind of slide under the radar a bit and use their abilities to the maximum because that was the only matchup that you had to deal with that with. Now, Death Guard have a whole bunch of detachments. Champions of Contagion is very strong. Even in this detachment, being able to do stuff like that. So having the ability to ignore that negative modifier becomes bigger value. We have a lot more units that do have negative modifiers all over the place. So I think that it's going to start making people look for more ways to ignore it. I don't have one. So I just have to take the negatives to the face. And it definitely hurt with the Forge Fiends. I wasn't able to get them running like I would have liked. But they still, at 150 points, they're spread out and they did a lot of work in other ways.
Yeah, they're so cheap. 150 points is crazy. Like Space Marine Gladiator tanks are 160. They have no embalm. So you have that embalm to give you that more durability. And that's the consistent. The AP3 flat 3 damage is crazy. It's just a good profile. You have to get close to use it. So that's the challenge there. And as we found, that he negs to hit if something has stealth or they pop smoke or something, it's going to cause problems for you.
That definitely does a lot of problems.
But yeah, and to just infantry and stuff, they're going to do a lot of work.
I think that's good though. But with the comparison with the Gladiator, like Gladiator Lancer, for example, from long range. I mean, that dude can eat vehicles like nothing. That last cannon, like he's got like what, full rerolls hit, full rerolls to wound off that thing.
Reroll 1 hit and 1 wound.
1 hit and 1 wound.
Yeah,
and
it's D6 plus 3 damage.
Okay. Does it reroll 1 damage too, or is it just hit and wound?
I think it's hit, wound, and damage. Yeah,
hit, wound, and damage. So yeah, he can really eat through something very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes me feel a little more comfortable with their point cost for it because these guys do have to get up close. But all in all, though, a lot of like the bloodletter strat was awesome. Everything you want it to be.
Yeah, if anything dies, you can put bloodletters where it died. And they just have to be wholly within 9 inches of where it was, which is an incredibly liberal area. So you can just put them there and block out charges, move block things.
Hey, I killed your screen.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, and obviously if something happens in your own turn, when something gets overwatched, you just drop them in there and then they can charge. It is restricted. You can only use it once per battle round, but oh well. Yeah. But it's so useful. Like, I had Assassinate. I was lined up to go in. I would have punched your Demon Prince right off the table. With that Death Shroud squad had the Lance and Sustained on it, so they would have wrecked him very easily.
Oh yeah.
But no, it's dirty bloodletters in the way that I had to deal with. So, and because they just appear there, you don't have any, like Oath of Moment isn't affecting on them because they appear there. So a lot of that stuff that
I shot you, I hit with you, so now you have this debuff on you, or my army gets this benefit into you. No,
the Lord of Virulence's rerolls are at the start of the phase, so they came in the middle of the phase, so I couldn't get rerolls for shooting them. I should have just ignored them and just accepted that they were going to block my charge there. So I think it's super useful. Defensively, it's amazing.
Yeah, I love it. It's a great strat. I mean, it can be used aggressively in this matchup. It was all about the defense. It was about trying to slow down the Death Shrouds. You had 2 units, and I was able to stop that one at center. And that I thought I had lost center. I was like, okay, I'm not going to worry about this. He's going to come into center. I'm going to, because of the fluke hit on the Land Raider. And sometimes that's how games happen. You have a plan. You're like, okay, I'm going to go center and I'm going to go left, and this looks good. And then everything falls apart in the middle, but you have something else that's a fluke where the dice kind of wash. It's like, oh no, I failed all these saves here. I lose the middle. But hey, I did way more. I punched up way, way more than I should have into the thing with the Land Raider. Like doing the 8 damage to the Land Raider suddenly changed the complete complexion of what we had going on over there. It's changed everything entirely. So then I started to push more into there and start fighting over that. And I mean, only things that were over there was 2 spawn and the 10 bloodletters. And that basically held that objective for the entire game for me on just those 2 units being able to. Now, I didn't hold it with the spawn, but I held you back from being able to push forward and get into the blood. It really,
the Land Raider was stuck there. Either it fell back and did nothing. Right. For a vehicle detachment, having no fall back and shoot strat is kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
The assault one, I guess, I would rather trade the assault one for a fall back and shoot. That would be a lot more useful. But
the assault,
I can't change it. Hey, GW, change the detachment.
But I don't like this. You're changing this. I'm not going to play that role anymore. I like that.
Let me just get a pen here. I'm going to make some adjustments to the rule book.
Yeah, and all my Necrons now have 2 up invulns. So, but with how that shifted, like I said, like things shifted. Plans changed, and then when I got that opportunity to drop the bloodletters in there and just to slow down the Death Shrouds and was able to take them and pick them up, getting 3 Forge Fiends to shoot at them, being able to charge with the Blood Crushers and the Demon Prince, and I mean just bring so much to bear, which that's what you have to do. They're that tough. And I mean it was Blood Crushers with Lord, 3 Forge Fiends, so you have 5 units there. And then the Demon Prince for number 6. That was everything I had to put into them to. Did I take down all? Yeah, I took the character down 1 time, and he stood back up and still annoyed me later into it. So much durability there that had to go into them. But yeah, that it just shifted up the way the game went. And like I said, like a true World Eater player, left my home field objective.
Yeah, didn't really need it. So.
No, I needed to.
You scooched back on the end because you wanted to hold more than me, but
that didn't work. Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, got to try for it. Got to play all 5 turns. Probably would have been better just to heroic into you now looking into stuff, but at the same time, in the future, I would push the Blood Crushers like a 5-man squad, like I had after I resurrected. I would push into your Death Shrouds because I could have hit and held them back away from the objective, and that would have been the better play. But hindsight on that too, I'm terrified of how much damage they could do in the Overwatch, not really looking into everything else. It wasn't bad. I mean, I took the Nia, still scored a bunch of points off it. I was able to make you have to commit in other ways, so it wasn't a bad move, but probably wasn't the most optimal move. Optimal move would have probably been pushing them forward into the Death Shrouds and keeping them back. So, yeah, all around, I think I will work on this list and get it painted up the way it is and try to get ready for more practice with it. As far as it is, I'm just going to ask you real quick. In the 3 armies I've played, where would you rank this one with Grey Knights? Right now, Necrons being the number 1 because of the characters, the meme of it, and just how ridiculously powerful it is. Do you think this ranks above Necrons yet, or too soon to say?
Oh, it's definitely too soon to say. This is the first time you played with them, so I think it definitely has some ability. I think
it plays the missions well.
Yeah.
It scores primary well. It covers the board well enough. It doesn't. The only thing I didn't see was engage on all fronts, really, as far as the outside like stuff that I have to do with it. But I do have the Flesh Hounds for that, and the half the reason I lost the Flesh Hounds was just because I was going after recover assets and behind enemy lines in the same turn. And recover assets is a tough one to get, so being able to get 6 off that was huge.
Yeah, they scored you a lot of points.
They did. They did a lot right there. They got the 7, at least 7 points for me in some way, shape, or form. Weird math. That's what I'm going to say. They got that. So, but yeah, what would be the biggest going back into this? And my thing I want to ask you before you answer it is, what would be one thing you would like to change as far as your list? Not the way you played it, because so many different variations that we're going to have to look back and figure out on our own from just first time playing the armies. But as far as list, what's something you might tweak? And is it going into 3-man squads of Death Shrouds to just have them hit and punch and maybe less points into them, but still strong, very offensive punch?
Well, no, like I said, in this detachment, I think I'd drop the Land Raider, take another couple more Myphitic Blight Haulers, maybe some Spawn for secondaries and that sort of thing. I don't think the Land it's a fun idea. I think in a lot of matchups it's not going to be super useful.
Blight Haulers actually looked really good this game. What they were doing?
Yeah, the Myphitic Blight Haulers are good because they get a +1 to hit and +1 to wound, and a Lord of Virulence will give them rerolling 1s to hit. They don't have blast weapons, but that's pretty good efficiency.
Does their missile have the blast option? They have the missile launcher.
If you do frag.
Okay, just curious. Just
if I'm going after vehicles, I'm doing the crack.
Right. But
yeah, and putting the Plague Marines in the Rhino, I want to try that out because it has fire support now. So when they get out, the Rhino shoots something, and they can shoot at it and they get full rerolls to wound on all their flamers and all their plasmas and blight launchers, that sort of thing. So I want to play
one,
that.
Charge another.
Yep, I want to play that and try that a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I could see there's a lot of play behind that. So maybe drop the Terminators entirely and go more into more Plague Marines and just play the game on board, or
no, the Death Strider are a threat that people have to worry about.
They really are.
Yeah. So I mean, really, if I was to play it actually competitively, I'm going to take another detachment. Probably Champions of Contagion until they nerf it, because there are so many stratagems that benefit the already strong units like the Plague Marines and the Death Shroud. Yeah, so that's what I would change, would be different detachment.
For me right now, the biggest thing I'm looking at is the Berserkers. I liked what they did. They accomplished most of their goals. I feel like their fighting the Lord Virulent was bad dice, and I can't really look at them and say, "Oh, this was them. They were terrible." Blah blah. I mean, it rolled bad. And a little bit of greed. I probably should have put more. I just probably should have put everything into him, and then piled into your other 2 characters and just kind of locked them up. Maybe use them to do the old school trick of, okay, you can't fall back from me. You'll have to desperate breakout, might blow you up in the process, and just make sure the Lord Virulent was taken care of for the assassinate point. So that one, luckily, I got away with it, but definitely should not have done that. In the future, I'll just let it go. But the Berserkers didn't do too bad. I could see a lot of people say, no, just take the 8 bound, less wounds, toughness 6, less wounds. I feel like you would have shredded the 8 bounds a lot faster in that case, but I don't know. Like either way, they both went down to those Terminators. I think both units go down to the Terminators. The 8 bound might have been a little bit better into what I was attacking, but then I'm 45 points short of 2,000, and there's nothing I can do with that. So that's kind of a tough thing. I liked the spawn. I really did. I liked how fast they were and being able to get them on objectives and go, haha, if you go ahead, you could do something about this. But now this is also a potential vessel for the Bloodletter strat, and they're able to just score me points and push up the field.
I do want to try the Death Guard ones because they're kind of hilarious. They don't have the advance and charge. They have fewer attacks than yours do, but they do have toughness 7 rather than your T5. And when you attack them in combat, they bounce mortals back onto you. So that's hilarious.
Oh, that's adorable. You
for every attack that they take, just every attack you swing on them, you roll a d6 on a 4 up, it does a mortal back. You roll a max of 6 dice. So basically, it's like free grenades back at whoever punches them in combat.
So I'm trying to think, and by the time you use it, I got to find a ridiculous scenario, because the Castle and Robots for AdMech, they have that similar ability, but it's in shooting. So for my what I love is the fact that, and this is completely canon, I will not believe anyone to tell me anything else. When you shoot them with artillery and you roll that 6, you literally bounce the bullet back as artillery, and it hits them perfectly.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's a solid projectile or an energy blast.
Yep, doesn't matter. Exactly, and that's completely canon. Or if you open a portal, like the D cannons do, they kind of just open a portal in the middle of the field. Somehow I bounce that portal back at you and take you out.
I mean, if you're playing against orcs, I'm sure they shoot a grot at you or a squig at you, and you bounce the squig back at them.
This is true.
All right, I think that's it for today.
Yeah, that's pretty much that. But we got to figure out what the ridiculous combat thing would be, like how that works. Like what? I'm just thinking back to like actual wrestling when Stone Cold went to hit it. He took a chair and he smacked the chair with the ring rope.
Why are you hitting yourself? But
he smacked the ring rope to like kind of warm it up, like, here I come, and he bounced it off and hit himself in the face. I'm imagining a bloodthirster doing that. Just a bloodthirster just smacking it with an axe and just like, okay, that hurt. Yeah, take a damage. So, all right, yeah, let's call it a night. Guys, let us know in the comments section what you guys think. Maybe some tweaks we could have while we're messing with this stuff too. Like Lane says, he's got a lot of other Death Guard lists to play. I got a lot of other lists to play. We're getting ready for this tournament and stuff. So have no idea what we're playing next week. We'll figure that out, and you'll be just as surprised as we are. All right, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon.